you. I saw a hand over there. Way in the back. Springerville. In the back over here. Yes? I'm sorry? Grant Canyon Unified. Great. Well, thank you for driving all the way in.
It's just an hour away.
And I'm sure that you'll be getting a lot out of our meeting today. So thanks again. I would also like to acknowledge those that are new. If this is your first meeting to ASCUS, would you please stand and we'll just recognize you and hopefully So again, thank you. And if you, all of us that are more experienced, please help those others, those new folks that are here today to learn from our experience.
Yeah, lockstep. The ASCUS way.
In their journey with student information systems. I'm Annette Moreno. I am your president for the next 3 years. And I'd just like to give you a little history on my background and my experience with ASCUS. I've been with Pendergast Elementary for 26 years. I started out there in the business office helping the finance director actually compile student attendance registers and bubble those nice bubble sheets and reconcile the APM and attendance. We were on the SIM system, on the System 36 back then. Several years later, I became a data control coordinator, and we upgraded to an ES400. We were still on SIMs, and along came SACE. That was about the time I decided, well, there's an opening in the business office again in finance, and that's really my passion, is in finance, budget, and funding. So during those years, I was always involved in ASCUS, and that's where I learned the most about maintaining a student management system, a finance system, and so forth. I actually got to meet a lot of people that helped me through my career, and my hope is that you all will continue to do that. Learn from this organization, professionally and personally, and so really that is my goal. I am now the Director of Budget and Finance for Pendergast, and I still find these meetings to be very beneficial, and I hope that you will too. Those that have been with us for many years, and I see a lot of familiar faces from way back when, they know that these are important meetings also. And they are really instrumental in developing the new members. So hopefully we can all share our experiences and our knowledge with those new members that we have today. So it is extremely important that we all stay involved and attend the meetings, especially in this transitional year to ASCUS. You'll learn a lot and hear a lot about that today. And so I hope that you all continue to attend our meetings and be informed. So my hope as president is to lead this organization and continue to meet the goals established by our predecessors who started this great organization. And now I'd just like to refresh and review our purpose of ASCUS and the goals that we've set. As a board, we hope to advance the knowledge and understanding in the operation of computer-based educational management systems. We want to provide a forum for members to interact on mutual concerns and to provide an opportunity to exchange ideas, methods, and future directions in educational management systems. We want to advance communications among school districts with ADE, professional organizations, and software vendors. We want to help identify issues and make recommendations for software enhancements, evolution, and integration. We want to provide training, workshops, and communication tools for sharing information. And we also encourage individual and professional development. So with all of us and all of our support, we support each other, we can accomplish these goals. Now I want to introduce our team, our board members. So first, I would like to introduce the Vice President, Brian Parks, with Scottsdale Unified. Our Secretary is Susie Smith with DIWA. Our Treasurer is Laura Blanco with Silver Unified. Our student representatives are Susan Parks of Deer Valley Unified, Sophia Lynn with Casa Grande Elementary, and Carol Holders of Sapper Unified. Our finance representatives are Lynn Easton of Gilbert Public Schools. She could not be here today. She's actually implementing a new finance software, so very busy for her today. Scott Huseman of Alhambra Elementary. And we do have one more seat that is open. I would like to just acknowledge Kim Ballantyne with Tyler Technologies. She could not be here this morning, but will join us later. I do want to clarify her role. I know that she was on the election ballot as taking a finance seat. But after review of our bylaws, it was determined that she was not eligible to fill the seat. But we continue as a board to need her support. She's always been in a more supportive role, not actually voting on any of the items that we bring forward to the board. So we just look forward and we acknowledge her support all these years. She was instrumental in really building ASCUS for many, many years with NCS back in the day. And so we do look forward to continuing to have that relationship with her. So I just wanted to make sure we acknowledge her. With that said, I will open the seat for finance rep. So if you are interested in serving on this great board, please send me an email with your interest by October 9th. If I receive lots of interest, I will open up an election, a special election. If I don't, I may be recruiting. And I actually have the authority to appoint someone to that seat. Okay, so. But I certainly want to open it up to anybody interested in serving on the board first, okay? So please send me an email if you're interested. Okay, so we have been very busy as a board over the summer. We've made some changes. We're updating the website. You may have already noticed that we have a membership directory when you logged in. So that was one of the enhancements that we asked to do. So you have access to every member and their information if you want to reach out to them after the meeting or during the year. Certainly you have access to those member information and contact information. You do have the option of opting in or out of that membership directory. There's also a search, so you don't have to scroll through the whole list, but make sure you use the search engine to look for members. Also, you can place a shirt order online when you log in. There's a little link at the top that you can place a shirt order. So we have some of the order forms available today if you'd like, and we will be placing an order, and the orders are due by November 13th if you'd like to have a shirt delivered to you at the next meeting on December 18th. I think the next meeting is December 10th. That was wrong. Okay. Just as a reminder, all the meetings are being recorded and they will be posted on our website, so you can always refer to them later if you've missed something or you just need to refresh your memories. One other change we made is membership dues. We decided that an annual membership due is more efficient of processing and is really to the benefit of the districts. It is a seat, so I know that most of you cannot make every meeting. If you cannot make a meeting, then maybe you could coordinate with your district and assign somebody else to come to the meeting in your place. So just keep that in mind. It is a seat, so you don't have to attend every meeting, but you can certainly send someone in your place. Okay. So, like I I said, please mark your calendars. Our next general meeting is on Thursday, December 10th. We decided to do or try to have a meeting on Thursday. There were some concerns regarding meetings always on Friday with travel arrangements. And so we are going to try the meeting out on Thursday. So hopefully we'll all be there on December 10th. So we have a very full agenda today for you. And we are very excited and honored to have the Superintendent of Public Instruction, Diane Douglas, here with us today. And of course, the whole team from ADE to share the updates and their information about our very important transition to ASCUS. I believe this will be our last year on SACE. And they will share that information later. Mark's like, don't say that. So, without further ado, please stand and welcome the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Diane Douglas.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you so very much. I want to say good morning to everyone, welcome you here, and especially thank you for allowing me to be here today and just be a small part of your meeting. As you heard, I'm Diane Douglas. I have the honor and privilege of serving you as Arizona's Superintendent of Public Instruction. And as I look at your agenda, I see I'm slotted for 20 minutes. I promise you, I'm not going to speak that long, but I am delighted for the opportunity to be here. And I realize how very important it is to all of us that we have reliable data, and it can be very important to our parents, especially our teachers and our schools. At a time as we transition to a new and greatly improved data system, I'm committed to strengthening the data security so that student data is collected only when it's necessary and it's protected as our parents expect and as they deserve. You know, this is one of my top priorities as I came into office. And it amazes me that in this day and age of identity theft that we all deal with, we all struggle with on a daily basis to make sure that our data is safe and secure as it can possibly be, it never ceases to amaze me how cavalier some outside of education or some remotely connected, is the word I want, with education expects us to be with personally identifiable student data. So I was so very pleased when I came into the department and met Mark Masterson to hear that he shared so many of the expectations and goals that I have for student data, and to ensure that data we have on our children is used to advance their education, their academics, advance how teachers are able to help those children in the classroom. As a parent, and now a new grandparent, he's got to wait, my new grandbaby, till he gets into school. But my expectation was always that whatever information they collected on my daughter would be used to help her education, not all kinds of other extraneous interests. So that is certainly one of our top priorities in the department. You may know about me that I served on the Peoria School Board 2 terms, 8 years, 2 years as that board's president. And believe me, SACE is something we discussed a lot in that district and on that school board, and the trials and tribulations and interesting times that we had with SACE. So it's exciting, it's long awaited as we move from SACE to AZ. And we know that's now upon us. And I know that you're all working so very hard to make that transition as smooth as it possibly can for your LEAs. And our team at the department has expressed how wonderful and how much they appreciate your feedback, your input, and your collaboration to make that work and make that transition as smooth as possible. Because we have a saying in the department, we talk about knock your socks off service. It's kind of our catchphrase. And that's truly very important, but as I came in, I saw that not any ill intent, but we tended to think about it previously as knock your socks off service as between ourselves or to the outside to the LEAs. Well, in my vision, everything we do is for the children and for their parents, so that our system serves them, because let's face it, without them, they don't need any of us. So we're making sure that we take that to the next level, and we always appreciate your feedback in how we're providing service, but we also want to make sure that we service you, but always thinking about how do we best get information data that serves our children to make their education better. And I'd like to thank you all, each and every one, for your help in working through this process. And I know there are, and there have been bumps on the road. There will be bumps on the road. That's just the way of life. But we're delighted to have your partnership in so many ways to help us. So now, without further ado, I'd like to bring on who you're really here to hear from. I'm delighted that we're able to have so much of our staff here to answer your questions and bring the information to you that you need. So I have the honor of introducing to you Mr. Mark Masterson. He has been crucial in re-imaging how we will do business with technology in education and making sure we go from that system that was just so cumbersome and interesting and challenging for all of us to work with a new image. Not just in how we use the accounting system. Let me digress in my introduction for just a moment. One of the things I've heard so much about as I was campaigning, as I was studying education, I was looking at all the issues that have changed. There was a lot of talk about statewide longitudinal data systems from the federal government and what their expectations are for that. And quite frankly, some of, at least what they say publicly, is of concern to me as a parent and as a grandparent who will have a little grandbaby in school in 4.5 years, probably less. But I was so delighted to see that the vision in Arizona was to take that system and make sure we use it for our children and our teachers here to advance that education, not to make it something that just provides information to someone else, because that has to be our top priority. How do we make the education of our children as best as they can possibly be? And my vision for my term in office, whatever it may be, will be to make Arizona's education system the envy of the nation. And I know we're already doing that on a national level. Mark has re-imaged our system, put a new vision in place for it that I'm absolutely delighted that he's done through all the ups and downs of budget cuts and successful launches and all the things that go along with it. I'd like to share something. I'm sure you probably already know this, but I'd like you to hear it if you haven't before. We're very honored and privileged. Last year, Mark was recognized by CIO 100 as an executive in charge of a very innovative data system. And we were delighted for that. But once again, we were recognized this year in 2015 by CIO as a department. And what they do is they showcase the transformative power of IT and what it can do. Now, one of the things that's amazing about that is if you look at the list of organizations that are recognized by CIO 100, we're talking generally corporations, multinational corporations. I was skimming through the list again this morning, and I was looking at one of the things they put in is their, I guess it's their revenue, they call it. And here's, 10 billion, 25 billion, 35 billion, 100 billion. And here's a Department of Education with 12 million. I mean, those organizations that have those types of revenue streams can do whatever they want with their data systems and make them work however they choose. We're on the restraints of what the legislature chooses to appropriate to us and how much of what they appropriate to us they allow us to keep to help you do your work, so that we can be recognized along with the best of the best all around the world is just an amazing thing to me and just makes me so very proud. So without further ado, I know that Mark has very important details to share with you, so please help me welcome ADE's Chief Information Officer, Mr. Mark Masterson.
Can you hear me? Hear me now. Thank you, Superintendent Douglas. I was fortunate to go through a transition this year, and you know transitions happen in your LEAs. The transition happened, and nothing that affected our vision and plan has happened. Legislature still doesn't give us as much funding as we ask, but that would happen no matter where. So the complete support from the top of the department. In fact, I'd like to say that the education transformation that we've undertook has affected the whole department. There's something called an Education Transformation Committee that the superintendent has either is represented or is in presence that decides the future of what we do in education, not just technology, but from a strategy top down. And then everybody in the agency knows what their priorities are. We have data governance. Oh my gosh. We never governed our data. We had people call us and said, could you give me all this data? Sure. When I got there, it's pretty amazing. I said, we just hand out our data? We had to have data governance. It took a while, but we now have data governance. So everything a big enterprise that you all discussed that we are identical to now. Now, we didn't have this kind of crowd every quarter. So this is pretty amazing, and it's not for me now. I think the last crowd I had at this size was January 6th or 7th. First one, Superintendent Huppenthal, and I wore flak vests. You guys were a little bit hostile. Fairly so. The system didn't work. If you called somebody, we hung up. They never called you back. I know that because when I showed up, people worked 3-4 hours a day. And I'd stand at the door and they'd be leaving at 2 and they came in at 9, 10, 11. And I'd say, wow, you're serving our kids and you're obviously not focused on what we're here for. All of you are working in an industry that is not known for extremely high pay. But why are you here? You're here for the same thing that I'm here for. And that's to help children graduate and hopefully land a job. Or go to post-secondary education or do what they want in their dreams. Whatever that is. But that's what you do every day. And I know some of you say, I'm in technology, I don't have nothing to do with that. If you don't do your job, the teachers can't do theirs. They got to have a way to take attendance, they have to have a way to report cards to the parents, and we have to communicate. Today, the whole world is technology. In fact, I left my phone at home. And I was sitting there thinking to myself in the car, do I turn around? Do I go get that phone? What happens if somebody calls me? Is that what you all, I mean, that's the same thing. 10, 15 years ago, did you worry about that? I mean, I've been in IT a long time, so I used to have a big block, or I'd have a beeper, you know, and when the beeper went off in the football game, I said, oh. But they didn't know where I was. Today, they know where you are. You know, they can get you at any time. but that's the world we live in. And if you sit here and think about what you all are doing, I was recently recognized as the superintendent said, in the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs. What a great resort. I've never stayed in a hotel like that before. They knew my name everywhere I went. It just bothered me. Well, I think that's the hotel. It's like the Ritz-Carlton, right? That level of service, that they cared. But what they had is some very, very powerful guest speakers. Vivek Watham was one of the most powerful speakers that I've ever heard. He said, the kids that are entering school today, kindergartens, you have them, preschools in some of your schools. Those kids are going to enter a workforce that we can't even imagine today. 50 years ago, they knew what the workforce would be. It's manufacturing, kind of cotton, or fruit, citrus, I mean, copper. It's Arizona, right? It's different. Where's manufacturing? China, offshore, somewhere. And what is he predicting? In 15 years,